In this video, I'm walking you through a complete outbound system for a SaaS company. We're gonna take BrightHire as an example. It's an interview intelligence platform. But even if you're in a different industry, this will give you a full strategy you can adapt and apply to your own outbound system. I'll walk you through the infrastructure setup, the targeting and sourcing in Apollo, writing and testing the email copies, and building your client enrichment workflow. If you don't know who I am, I'm Romain Osman. I co-founded 5Element, and over the past years, we've generated over 1,000 sales appointments for B2B companies and millions in pipeline using cold emailing and LinkedIn outreach. So let's get started. But first, what is BrightHire? So BrightHire is an interview intelligence platform helping companies make better hiring decisions by turning messy, subjective interviews into structured ones. So less guesswork, more great hires, fewer interviews, better decisions, smoother and more efficient hiring. So this is their website. They're a great company. They're already working with a lot of big companies. I have no idea if they're already running some outbound, but today we're going to pretend that they have no system in place and we're going to build it for them. So first, we need to build the email infrastructure. So BrightHire has a large TAM, but it's not huge as well. So we're going to build an infrastructure to be able to reach out to 10,000 prospects per month. We could go beyond that, but that's a good number to start with. For the email cadence, we're going to send 2 emails per prospect. And if we don't get any reply, we're going to re-engage every 3 to 4 months. 10,000 prospects per month, 2 emails per prospect. That's 20,000 emails per month. So to maintain strong deliverability, we'll double the setup to handle up to 4,000 emails a month. This makes sure we have backup inboxes in case performance drops. So I have this calculator to be able to know how many inboxes you need based on the volume of emails that you send. So this document will be in the description. And so 10,000 leads contacted in a month, that's 500 per day. Number of emails per lead, 2. Total sending days per month, it never changes. It's always 20 to 22 because we want to avoid sending during the weekends. And then we have the Google inbox limit and Microsoft inbox limit. So for Google, I personally limit to 20 emails per day. I know that some people, they go beyond that. They go to 25, 30, or even some people, they go below that. They limit at 12 or 15 a day. In my case, I like to put the limit at 20 a day. I think it's pretty reasonable. And for the Microsoft inbox limit, here I added 4 because I'm talking about the Microsoft Azure infrastructure. And you can buy these infrastructures through platforms like Scaled Mail or Hypertide. And so with 2 domains, you can create 100 or 200 inboxes. So it's a different kind of infrastructure. But in our case, we're going to simplify. We're just going to take Google inboxes. So we're going to put 100% here. If we want half of the infrastructure to be with Microsoft Azure, I added that here, we add 50%. And in that case, we will need to buy 215 boxes from this infrastructure. But let's put it back to 100. And for the backup percentage, we want to put 100% because as we said before, we want to have double the infrastructure. We want to be able to send 40,000 emails a month, even if we're only going to send 20,000 emails because we want some backup in case we start landing in spam. And so that means that we need 100 Google inboxes. So we can either buy 50 domains or 33 domains. So either we have 2 inboxes per domain or 3 inboxes per domain. In my case, I like to have 3 inboxes. I've never really seen a problem with that, but you can also buy 50 domains. So for the domains, you can buy them on Spaceship. You can buy .info domains because they're pretty cheap. For $2.50, you can have a domain. And then to buy the 100 inboxes, you can use a platform like Premium Inboxes. They're a Google and Microsoft reseller. So you can have Google inboxes for cheaper and they're handling all of the setup. They're setting up the DNS and they're directly connecting your inboxes to your Instantly or Smartlead account. Now we need to build the list of prospects. So first, let's talk about the targeting. So here I assumed that the targeting of BrightHire is as follows. So company size from 100 to 5,000 employees. I think they can go beyond 5,000 employees, and they might even start at 50 employees. But in our case, we're going to focus on that range. Location, USA and Canada, they might focus on all English-speaking countries. So we might need to expand to Australia, the UK, mainly that. And for the job titles, we need to focus on hiring and recruiting decision makers. So Chief People Officer, Chief HR Officer, VP of Talent Acquisition. There is a long list, but we're going to add them in Apollo. So this is the search that we have in Apollo. So I've added a few job titles. We could add a few more, but this is a good start. Company location, USA and Canada. Employees, so I've added from 100 to 5,000. We could also add this range and this range potentially. So as you can see now, we have 80,000 people we can reach out to. And we could also add another filter that is the job posting. We can add the filter that they need to have minimum one active job posting. As you can see, it only removed 20,000 people because most companies of this size are hiring. So that's why we still have a big list. And this filter is not perfect. So even if you remove it and you contact the 20,000 people that got removed, it can still make sense. They might still need the software, in my opinion. Now, we need to export this list. So we're not going to export it directly from Apollo because it's very expensive and they have a lot of limitations. So we're going to take the URL of this search and we're going to paste it in an Apollo scraper like Boomerang. I like Boomerang right now, but there are a lot on the market. And we're going to paste the URL here. We're going to add the file name, so BrightHire list 1, and we need to contact 10,000 people per month. So in our case, since a lot of emails will be invalid, we want to source at least 16,000 people. We don't want to verify the emails because we're going to do it directly in Clay. We have a whole Clay enrichment, so this service is not necessary. And so then we click on Get the Leads. We wait 12 hours to 24 hours, and then we can export our 16,000 leads in a CSV. Then when you have your CSV from Boomerang, what you want to do is import the CSV on Apollo. Why you want to do that? Because you want to import the list and then add your filters in Apollo. This way you're sure that you're on the right target, because many times you export 10,000 leads, but you have at least 10 to 20% of them that are outside of the target for some reason. And so once your list is imported inside of Apollo, you're going to open your search. So this was this search, the 61,000 leads. You're going to add a filter here, which is lists. And here you're going to select the list that you just imported. And when you're done with that, you're going to go to saved and you're going to export all of them. This way, you're 100% sure all of them are in the right target. By the way, if you'd rather have my team build and run the entire outbound system for you, just hit the first link in the description to book a call with me. We can talk about whether it makes sense for us to work together or not. All right, back to the video. Now the third step, so it's a very important part, that's the copy creation. So first, what are the core benefits of BrightHire? First, equip hiring teams with real-time insights to improve decision-making. Minimize candidate drop-off with a smoother interview experience. Ensure fair, consistent, and objective hiring decisions. Take the guesswork out of hiring with real data. Shorten the hiring process with fewer interviews per hire. And reduce bad hires and costly hiring mistakes. So there are probably a few more, but I think those are the main ones. And this is our first variation, so I'm going to explain it to you. So first we have some syntax greeting. So this dynamically changes greetings to help bypass spam filters. So here, as you can see, we have good morning or good evening first name, hi first name, or just first name. How do you know if bad hires are slipping through company names hiring process? So it's an approach that has been created by Josh Brown. So that's the poke the bear approach. So instead of pitching, we open with a thought-provoking question that highlights a potential pain point. So this approach is a very effective way to make them want to read the rest of the email. And so that's why I always like to test this poke the bear approach in one of the variations. It doesn't work all the time, but it's worth testing. Then 74% of employers admit they've hired at least one wrong person, costing them on average $15,000 per bad hire. So here, as you can see, we're adding data and credibility. So backing up the problem with a real stat makes it more compelling and relevant. Then teams using BrightHire run 27% fewer interviews and make better hires faster. So here, that's the value proposition and social proof. So we show that other companies are already solving this problem successfully. And we show here a real stat. That's not a number that I invented. It's on their website. So it shows that they quantified the value of their platform. And then the call to action. So want to see how this could work for a company name. So low commitment CTA, instead of pushing for a call, this invites curiosity and keeps the reply barrier low. So here, maybe instead of that, I would add something like, just, do you want to receive more information? Maybe asking if they want to receive more information would be better, but that's something that could be A/B tested. Now let's talk about the second variation. So in the first variation, I didn't talk about the subject line, but as you can see here, we're using question for first name, and it was the same for the first variation. So it's a simple subject line, short, curiosity-driven, and proven to get opened, a classic that still outperforms most. So we still test other types of subject lines, but most of the times, those types of subject lines are outperforming the other ones. So quick question or quick question for, or just the first name or the company name is still outperforming all of the others that you might invent and that are more relevant to the offer. So something very vague like that is way enough for them to open the email in general. Then we still have the greeting spin tags here. Then came across your LinkedIn profile and saw the job title at company name. So it's adding some personalization, mentioning their role makes it feel more relevant and answers the unspoken why me question. So I prefer the first version. I'm not sure this one is that good. It's worth testing, but to be honest, I don't like it that much anymore because it's very used. Like job title is not something that is hidden anywhere. It's pretty basic. So yeah, I don't think it's the best, to be honest. In that case, I think I would just skip it completely and start directly with this line. And so let's talk about this line now. We're helping companies like company name make hiring decisions faster without relying on gut instinct. So clear value proposition, get straight to the benefit, faster, smarter hiring. Then we have the same social proof line here. And then one of BrightHire's user reduced their cost per hire by 40% without sacrificing quality. So here's the social proof with the cost saving angle. So it shows real impact with actual numbers. So here we have two different social proof. Might be too much, but if we remove this line, I think it's good. It will be a 3 sentences email plus the call to action. So it's pretty reasonable. And then we have the same call to action. So again, I would change it to ask if they want to receive more info instead. Now let's talk about the follow-up. So here we don't have a subject line because it's just going to be a reply of the first email. So hi, first name, are you the right person to discuss improving company names hiring process? Or would it make more sense to reach out to colleague 1 or colleague 2? Here we're name dropping, meaning we're using the name of their colleagues. So mentioning their colleagues shows that we've done our homework and it makes it even more personal. So here's how to do it inside of Clay. So you just add a new column that is look up multiple rows in other table. You find the table you're working on. So as you can see here, it's the colleague table. For the target column, you add website, filter operator equals, and row value website. This way, when 2 rows are going to have exactly the same website, or here company name, but I have the website just here, you're just going to have the details inside of this. So as you can see here on row 3, 4, 5, we have exactly the same website. So that's why it's showing 3 records found. And as you can see here, we have the whole detail of the row. And so then you can just export the name and add it here. And so in this column, we want to show the name of the colleague. So for example, for Steve here, it shows Danny. Danny is here and working in the same company. For Danny, it shows Steve. And for Andrew, it also shows Steve. And so how to do that? Here I have a formula. And so I'm just asking to show one of the full names that have been found, but not the name that is equal to the name of the person already here. So this way for Steve, it doesn't show Steve as well. But as you can see, it's not finding a colleague for all of them, but here it's just a random list. I think if I source leads for BrightHire, I'm going to find a lot more colleagues. But in case they don't have a colleague, we could say, for example, or would it make more sense to reach out to one of your colleagues? As simple as that. And so we could set that up directly in Clay. So here we add another condition that says that if it's empty, if there is nothing to show, add one of your colleagues. As simple as that. I've seen on LinkedIn that company name has, then we add here the number of job positions. So has 3 open roles. So I thought this might be relevant. So again, this is something we can do inside of Clay. So here in Actions, Enrichment, View All Enrichments, Job Opening. And so this is this one. So of course you will need to pay for a Clay credit. But if you want to add this variable, you need to add this column. But in our case, it could be skipped. It doesn't add that much value to the email. The email could be just this thing, to be honest. Also, something that I didn't precise that here I should have added a lot of spin tags, because here I just have the greeting spin tags, but we should add a lot more to be able to avoid spam filters, because after a few days or a few weeks of running exactly the same variation, we're going to start having a high sender bounce on Smartlead. And so to avoid that, to be able to use this variation for a longer time, we need to create a lot of small variations of the same email, and that will help us run this variation for a longer time. Same for the variation 2. For the follow-ups, it's less important, but it can also be a good idea to add some spin tags here. And now the final step is the list cleaning and enrichment. So first, if you remember, we started with Apollo. We created our search, and then we took the URL that we added to Boomerang. Then we exported the CSV of our search from Boomerang, and we imported it in Apollo. And then on Apollo, we added our filters, and then we exported the list. And so now this list that we exported, we need to import it in Clay. So this is our Clay workflow. I'm going to walk through it quickly, but I have a full video on my YouTube channel that detail it. So the first column here is lookup column. So here we're just checking if the website is on the do not contact list. So we have another table with the do not contact list with all of the websites all of the companies that we don't want to reach out to because they're either our clients or they already said that they're not interested in our services. And so as you can see here, it found one of the websites that we don't want to reach out to. And so then the enrichment, as you can see, is not running. It's saying here, run condition not met. Then the second column is the MX provider check. So here we just want to check what is the provider that they're using. It's very important to know that because sometimes we avoid contacting the Microsoft 365 providers because it's hard to land in the inbox. And so when that happens, and as you can see on this example, we avoid it. As you can see here, there is an email, but validate email, run condition not met. Here, run condition not met, but because there is no email, so there is nothing to verify. So here, we don't verify the email if they are using Microsoft 365. Then when there is no email, like here, we are trying to find the email using Prospeo. Then here we're verifying the catch-all emails because as you can see here, it's a valid email. But if we take a look at the details, it's saying that it's an accept all. It's a risky email, so we can't contact it directly. And so we need to add another layer of verification using enrich.so. And then we gather all of the valid emails inside this master column. So here it's adding the valid emails from this column, and this column. So as you can see, it's first trying to see if the email in this column, in valid emails, is safe to send. Then if there is nothing in this column, it's trying to see if they find a valid email in Prospeo. And if there is nothing in Prospeo, then they try to find in enrich.so. That's the catch-all verifier. And that's it. That's the last step. And so to create this column, you just click here, you insert a column on the right, and you merge columns. And the last step here is to clean the company name using ChatGPT. So very simple. And so here we would need to add also the colleague columns that we've added here. So here we need to add the condition that if there is an email in master email, we want to run this column. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense because we're not going to be able to reach out to those people if they don't have a valid email. And then, of course, we have a column here that directly imports the leads inside of the right column in Smartlead. I personally don't use it. I like to add them manually using a CSV in Smartlead because sometimes there are some errors, and here I'm not going to be necessarily notified, and I will need to verify if there are some errors. So I prefer to do it manually, but you can also do it automatically by adding this column. So that's it for the video. Now, if you want us to build and run the entire outbound system for you, so you don't need to focus on any of what I talked about in this video and just focus on closing deals, you can just hit the first link in the description to book a call with me. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe. I'll be posting more videos and tutorials like that to help you scale your outbound. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.